recording. So, at Max's Munchies, caramel corn worth $2.50 per pound is mixed with honey roasted mixed nuts worth $7.50 per pound in order to get a 20-pound mixture worth $4.50 per pound. How many of each snack is used? How many pounds? I think it would mean to say. How many pounds of each snack is used? You can write it or you cannot write it. Huh? Yeah, it can hear you. It's just Madison. Hey, Madison. Okay, talk to Madison.
Okay, we hope you're doing all right, Madison, and we miss you, and we love you, and yeah.
Okay, now let's do this problem. So, we need to write a system of two equations. Okay, one of them is going to have to do something about the money. The other one has to do with the total number of pounds. So if we let X be the pounds of caramel corn, and we let Y, I'm going to be so loud on this, be the pounds of mixed nuts, and we have a total of 20 pounds. How can I show a total of 20 pounds using X and Y? Thank you. Good job. Okay. X plus Y equals 20. That gives us the total poundage. Okay. We add up the pounds of candy corn, caramel corn, and the pounds of mixed nuts. All right. Now we have to take into account the money. All that money can go into one equation. So an X, caramel corn, is worth $2.50 a pound. A Y, a pound of nuts, is worth $7.50. And the total cost is $4.50 per pound. So we want to know how much of each snack is used. So I want y'all to use one of the methods that you learned today and solve this system. But looking at this second equation, it's $2.50 per pound of caramel corn, $7.50 per pound of nuts, and the total was $4.50 per pound, but we had 20 pounds. So we had to do $4.50 times 20 to get 90. Yes?
I feel like you should explain why you put 90 instead of the decimal for Madison.
I just did.
But it wasn't recorded. Yeah, she just recorded it. Oh.
We're looking out for you, Madison.
Yeah.
Okay. So this 90 that was 4.5 is now 90 because we had 20 pounds total. It was $4.50 per pound, and we had 20 pounds total to give us 90 total pounds. Now, you could solve this with substitution, elimination, or graphing. I'm going to do it with substitution because that's my favorite way to do it. And I'm going to say, I'm going to solve for this X. So I get the X by itself. That's the first step in substitution. I get the X by itself. And then I replace the X in this equation with negative Y plus 20. So I solved for X and got negative Y plus 20. I take that negative Y plus 20 and put it in for this X. And then I work that out. So distributing, I get negative 2.5Y plus, is that 50? Plus 7.5Y equals 90. I bring my 50 over and get 40. Negative 2.5 plus 7.5 is 5Y. And so Y is 8. Y represents what?
Pounds of nuts.
The pounds of nuts. So we need 8 pounds of nuts. X is the pounds of caramel corn. When we know that together you have to have 20. If 8 are nuts, then what must be caramel corn?
12.
12. Any questions now? All right, I'm changing my second example because you don't have one of those on your homework, and you do have one of these.
So since we have to have 20 pounds.
Yes. Okay, so copy this one down if you're copying them down. I'm going to shorten it. I'm not going to write every word. But in 2013, the U.S. spent $452 billion more on the military than China spent on its military. So in 2013, the U.S. spent $452 billion more on its military than China spent on its military. Together, they spent $828 billion. Together, they spent $828 billion. And if you're wondering the source, it's the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Find the amount spent by both countries. So what are we looking for? What are going to be our variables, X and Y? What are the two things we're looking for? The amount spent by the U.S. and the amount spent by China. So if we let X be how much the U.S. spent and Y be how much China spent in 2013, somebody raise your hand if you can give me one of the equations. There are two equations. Raise your hand if you can give me one of the equations. You need to be paying attention to this and not doing other homework. Hannah. X plus Y equals 828. It says together they spent $828 billion. So I add up the U.S. spending, China's spending, and I get 828. We have one more piece of information that we need to use. The U.S. spent $452 billion more than China. The U.S. is represented by what variable? So, X's spending is $252 billion more than China. What is China's? How do I show 452 billion more? Y plus 452. No, the U.S. spending is equal to the Chinese spending plus 452 billion. And if you have a question like that, if it starts to get confusing in your head, read it out, substituting the words for the variables. Okay? So, for the first one, U.S. spending plus Chinese spending is $828 billion. Together, they spent $828 billion. The U.S. spending is equal to the Chinese spending plus 452. U.S. spent 452 more than China. And then you would just work these out. Okay? I'm not going to bother working it out. There's one more. The answer is China spent $188 billion. The U.S. spent $640 billion. Do I need to work it out? This is the perfect setup for what kind of working out? Substitution, because X is already by itself. So I'm going to take Y plus 452 and plug it in for the other X. So Y plus 452 plus Y equals 828. This right here was the X that we found in the second equation, or that was given to us. So 2Y equals 828 minus 452. What is it? That's why you missed it? Okay. So 828 minus 452. 376. And so Y is 188. Which one is Y? China. So So China had $188 billion. To find the U.S.'s, we would just add 452. So to find the U.S., we would say X equals 188 plus 452, which is 640. So I would say the U.S. spent $640 billion, and China spent $188 billion. Any questions? If you can get this set up, I have faith that y'all can solve them. If you can get this set up. Okay, there's one more type problem that I want to see if you can set up, and then I'm done. Charles inherited $15,000 and invested it part at 4% simple interest and part at 5% simple interest. Why he didn't just do it all at the 5%, I don't know. Maybe it was a certain kind of investment that you could only invest a certain amount. At 5% simple interest. The annual interest is, so the annual interest is $690. Find the amount invested at each rate. Find the amount invested at each rate. So our X and Y, what will it be? X is the amount at 4%, and Y will be the amount at 5%. Since that's what we're asked to find, we're asked to find the amount invested at each rate. So X will be one of those rates, Y will be the other rate. Can anybody come up with an equation to show me either the one about the 15,000 or about the 690? All right. So, okay. So, if we know that the total interest is 690, he makes 4% off of what he puts in X, 5% off of what he puts in Y, for a total interest of $690. Together, the money that he invests, X plus Y, is a total of $15,000. That's how much he had to start with. And then we would solve this with substitution, elimination, or graphing. The answer is 6,000 at 4% and 9,000 at 5%.